Hey guys, welcome to today's video. I am so excited because today we're doing a full face of Charlotte Tilbury. Every single product on my face right now is from the brand Charlotte Tilbury. We're going to apply each product together. I'm going to show you how I apply each product. I'm going to talk about each product and let you know what I recommend it, what I not recommend it. I'm also going to speak about some of like the strengths and weaknesses I see kind of across the board in the brand, because this is so many products that I have tried at this point. Some of these are newer to me. Some of these are products that I've owned for probably a couple years at least. So I do feel like I have a good grasp on kind of where the brand is the strongest and kind of the weak points. And once we get to the wrap up, I am gonna let you know the top 5 products that I would recommend from this line. Before we jump into it, please make sure that you are subscribed. It makes my heart happy and it gives you the chance to enter my monthly giveaways, the details of which are in the description box below. All right, let's travel back in time to before I put this makeup on my face. Squigglies. All right, so we're starting with Charlotte's Magic Cream, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys because I think it's important to admit our biases and our biases. Which one is it? Not sure. I did not have any kind of high hope for this product. I literally went into this whole video concept knowing I was 99% sure I was not going to like this product. So yes, I'm a little biased. Here's the reason why. I tend to not trust skincare from makeup brands. I don't know. There's something about it. I tend to kind of think it's just not as legit as skincare from skincare brands. I am sure that's not always the case, but I have to say, I'm not the first person to say this. The price tag for this it's just insane. For a 1.7 fluid ounce, which is the full size, it's $100. I'm not saying I wouldn't spend $100 on skincare. I know I have, but when I spend that much money, I'm spending that much money on a particular like ingredient or formula. And generally, I'm not spending that much for a day cream. Actually, I'm never spending that much for a day cream to go under my, makeup. I think it's nice. It's a nice cream. It feels nice. It moisturizes the skin well, and it does give you a nice base. But you can get that with many different day creams and moisturizers. You don't have to spend this much money. So for me, this is a no. I just, really wanted to try it because, hey. So for primer, we're going to be using the Hollywood Flawless Filter. I am in shade 2. This is a product I have just been dying to try. I've heard really great things about it from some people that I really trust their opinion. So I kind of went into this one with high hopes, and I do really like it. So what I have found is that I like to put it on using the little brush that comes in the product. Although now that I think about it, it's not maybe the most hygienic thing, but oh well. There's some odd packaging choices. We'll get into that as we go through all these products. There's some odd packaging choices at times. So I found that I like to just put it straight on and then blend it onto my skin with a brush. And I'll tell you why. I have found that that gives me the best glow. When I use a sponge or my fingers, I have seen that it just kind of blends it almost too much to the point where I no longer see that glow as much as I would like to. I think the whole point of this product, well, I know the whole point of this product is to give you that nice lit from within glow when you're using it as a primer. So it kind of defeats the purpose if it gets blended in so much that you lose that glow. So that's why I've really liked doing it with a brush, and that's the application that I found works best for me. I think you can see it really does make you look lit from within. If you're someone who enjoys that nice glow effect, I think you really will like this. I do recommend it. I would say I would recommend this if you're someone who doesn't need your primer to be kind of correcting something. Like if you're someone who has oily skin and you really depend on a mattifying primer, this isn't going to be a good substitute. If you really depend on your pore filling primer, I sometimes do depend on a pore filling primer right in here. I don't always have to use one. On days that I would need to use a pore filling primer, this is not what I would reach for. But I do think that if you're somebody who likes a nice lit from within glow, you could definitely get away with using this as a primer, and I've really enjoyed using it as such. All right, for foundation, we're using the Light Wonder foundation. This is touted as your light dream skin foundation. It does have an SPF of 15, and this is marketed as a light radiant coverage, which I somewhat disagree with. We'll get into that in just a second. I am in the shade 3 Fair. I want to give fair warning and an apology that this is a very dismal shade range. There's only 10 shades. It is light coverage, so I guess you can get away with a shade that's, you know what, you can't get away with a shade that's not your shade. You shouldn't have to. It's just bad. It's bad shade range. There are better shade ranges in some of her other foundations, but the reason I picked this one for myself is because I like a nice skin-like to dewy foundation. That's the finish that I like. Now, this is the only foundation from Charlotte Tilbury that has a radiant finish. Her other 2 foundations are described as matte, so that finish does not work for me. I cannot stand a matte foundation. It's just not my thing. So that's why I picked this one up. Now, off the bat, I'm going to tell you, I have applied this a few different ways. The only way that I have found that I get a nice, even kind of coverage, it's light coverage, but the only way that I found that I get a nice, even, you know, well-distributed layer of foundation is with a sponge. When I use a brush, I see that it kind of like, it almost like drags in places. It kind of sticks to texture. It just is not a foundation I would use a brush with. Another thing about using it with a brush is I found that when I used a brush, it oddly looked like a very kind of like satin eggshell type finish. It was not at all what I would describe as a radiant finish when I tried using a brush, and I found the same thing to be true when I used my fingers. It didn't look radiant at all. So I would say that this can have like a skin-like radiant finish as long as you apply it with a sponge. For me, when I applied it with a brush, it did not look any kind of radiant. It almost immediately looked very like eggshell. So in my beauty biography tag, I recently touched on how I have been liking a little bit lighter foundation lately, a little bit lighter coverage. And I do really like this amount of coverage. I like that I can see freckles. I can still see my skin through it. And when it's applied with a sponge, I think it's a really, really beautiful finish. Another thing I would say is it looks so beautiful with the other products. That's one thing I think Charlotte Tilbury really has going for her brand. Every product that I've tried works well with the other products. You don't run into a situation where you have 2 products that just aren't jiving out of all the things that I've tried. I think that's really important. There is nothing more frustrating to me than when I have a foundation from a brand and a bronzer from a brand, and for some reason the bronzer never sits nicely on the foundation from the same brand. I like for everything to be cohesive, and I think that's something that Charlotte Tilbury's brand has done very well. So I really do like this foundation. I like the finish, I like the coverage, and I almost kind of appreciate the fact that, you know, if I had like an evening event or some event where I wanted to have more of a satin kind of, you know, soft skin finish, I could do that by applying this with a brush. The only thing is, in some areas of my face, it just doesn't really apply nicely with a brush, so I would have to do some finagling. But for the purposes of having like a nice dewy light coverage foundation, it's a really good option. So if you are in the market for something that's light coverage and has a radiant finish, I think this is a good option, as long as you're one of the 10 shades. All right, before we move on to concealer, I want to do my brows. I'm just gonna brush them out. I do have 2 brow products from Charlotte Tilbury. So the first is the Charlotte Tilbury Brow Lift. This is a 3-way shape tool. You'll see that on the end there is a triangle shaped brow pencil. On the other end there is a brush, and then inside, which was something that really surprised me in my last first impressions video, there's this little kind of sponge that has like a little illuminator that you can put right under here to kind of enhance the brow. I'm gonna use this little mirror from this powder. I love the packaging, but I will say that it gets fingerprints on it so easily. That's a thing. So the shape of this brow pencil kind of enables you to use the pointed end of the triangle, the tapered end of the triangle, to get a finer stroke, and then you can turn it sideways to do your longer strokes when you're filling in your brows. So that shape, that triangle shape, does give you a couple options on, you know, the different kind of strokes that you can make with this pencil. For reference, I am the shade Rita. I have found this to be a really nice, smooth pencil. It does apply smoothly. This color is good for me. My only hang up about this, you guys, is this just isn't the shape that I like. So this is not, you know, a super duper win for me. You know, I think if you were someone who liked this shape of brow pencil, then yeah, this might be something for you. But I've noticed that it breaks a little bit easily. Number one, I've broken the tip off of it like 3 times, and I've read that in other reviews about it. So I know that it's not like a one-time deal. It's not just like that mine's, you know, kind of a little bit weak. It's something that tends to typically happen from what I can tell. And because the shape just isn't the shape that I normally go for. I normally just like a fine point brow pencil, and I can fill in that way. I'm not someone that needs kind of like the longer, broader strokes, because I do already have, you know, I have full enough brows. I really just am filling in little tiny hair strokes to kind of make them look a little bit fuller. I don't need to create like an entirely new brow or an entirely new brow shape. So this is something that I don't foresee myself ever repurchasing it. And I don't know, maybe if you're someone that likes this shape, you would like it, but from my perspective, it's a no. All right, moving on to brow gel. This is the Legendary Brow Gel. I actually own this in 2 shades. I already owned Bridget, and now I own Supermodel. Here's the conundrum. Neither one is really a color match for me. Bridget doesn't show up at all. Like, it's almost like it's a very light taupe color that's a little bit too ashy. So when you do see it and it catches the light, if I put it on, it kind of gives my brows like a gray cast. And you're gonna see with Supermodel, I'm gonna use it, but I'm gonna use it very, very sparingly, because it is just, I mean, it's just a tinge too dark. I'm someone that does like a dark brow. I don't mind my brows being darker. Obviously, my brows are darker than my hair, a few shades, but this just takes it just a step too dark, and I don't love that. And one thing that I also noticed with it is I end up, you know, having to go in and kind of clean up where it gets onto my skin, because it doesn't just solely stick to the hairs. It kind of has a tendency to bleed a little bit. So once I get this on and it dries, I'm gonna have to go kind of clean up the places where it's gotten onto my skin and stuck there. The other thing I will say about this brow gel is when I use it, I do notice that upon removal, I tend to lose a few little brow hairs. And that's just not something that I like to see, to be honest. So while this does have good hold, I mean, it has beautiful hold, it definitely can kind of give you that like laminated brow effect that's very popular and that I really enjoy as well. But because the shade match just doesn't work for me, and I do find it bleeding onto my skin, and I have to go like back in and clean it up, it's just not a good fit, because I don't like to spend that much time fiddling with my brows. All right, next up, just because of the nature of the contour product we have, I'm going to be doing my nose contour next. I'm using the Hollywood Contour Wand. I have the fair medium shade. All right, I'm going to tell you what, a little bit of this goes a really, really long way, but it's a very forgiving product. So the only way I have found that I can get this on my nose and it works is I take like a little domed utility brush that's just like the smallest thing ever, and I have to take like the tiniest amount of product, and then I just apply it. And you're gonna see like it's so dark that you're gonna be like, whoa, wait, how is that fair medium? Because when I first got this, that was my question. When I first saw this product, I've had this for months now, but when I first saw it, I was like, wait, how is that fair medium? I think they've made a mistake. But alas, they had not. So then I just go in and I blend it. And that's why I'm doing this before my concealer, because I'm gonna have to clean it up with my concealer. I'm just honest, you guys, I have yet to find another way to do this nose contour part. And I really like my nose contour, so I don't wanna, you know, give up on it. This is not the easiest product for that, but it's a beautiful contour product for like the cheeks and the forehead. It really, really is. And you can see it blends out really well. It's very forgiving. It's a very buildable product. That's something that I noticed about several of the products from Charlotte Tilbury is they are very forgiving for the most part. They blend really, really easily and really well. And if you kind of mess up, you can usually blend it out enough to kind of fix whatever issue you've run into. So another thing I will say with this product is that I don't absolutely love the packaging, but it is a really nice formula and I love the color. I love how natural it ends up looking. Like right now it doesn't, but trust me, when we clean it up, it's gonna look great. I am gonna go in with it right along here just so you can see how I contour my cheeks. And what I do is I give it a couple seconds just to dry down a little bit, because if I don't, then it kind of just blends out into like nothingness, and it'll blend too far down. You kind of have to give it a second to sit where it is and where you want it before you start to blend. Or if I don't, then just from that little bit I put, it's gonna blend all the way down to here, because it's just gonna keep blending and blending. It's gonna go too far. So I do give it a second and then I just blend it out with like my favorite. This is a blush brush actually from It Cosmetics. I talk about this brush all the time because I use it like every time I do my makeup. But you can see it's just a really nice natural contour. So I do absolutely love this product. I wish the packaging was a little bit different, just the sponge part, because it does feel like a little bit, I don't know, unhygienic almost to use it directly onto the face. I guess I could pick it up like I do for my nose, but I don't know, that kind of feels like a hassle. I do think this is a product that once it runs out, I will repurchase it and that I would recommend just because it gives such a nice natural contour. It really does. I mean, it's just really such a beautiful product. And you can just see on the cheeks and on the forehead, it's just a really nice natural contour. All right, so for concealer, so that we can fix this nose contour situation, this is the Magic Away Liquid Concealer. Now, again, we've got a sponge and this one has a click up. This is my least favorite packaging of all time. So I'm gonna be honest, this packaging just kind of ruins it for me. I do not like this packaging at all. Also, this creases a little bit, which is really a bummer for me. It kind of settles a little bit into just like this little baby crease that I have under my eye. And I do find that it, when it's first put down, it kind of starts to accentuate my smile lines, which is a pain in the butt. So this product is just, I mean, I'm gonna be straight with you. This product is a no-go for me. I don't know. I can't get past the packaging and the fact that it doesn't look great by itself. You're gonna see once I put some powder on over it to set it, I like the way that it looks, but I don't wanna have a concealer that I then have to put a specific powder over it to make it work. That just doesn't work for me. I'm gonna use it to brighten the center of my face and kind of to clean up that nose contour. All right, so now we're gonna set the under eye. We're gonna use the Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. I have shade 1 Fair. This is one of 2 powders and I'm gonna spoil it. This is my favorite of the 2, which is crazy because I really thought I was gonna prefer the loose powder, but this pressed powder, it's worth the hype. It sits so beautifully under the under eye. It doesn't cake, it doesn't crease, and honestly, I told you that concealer creases for me. This, once I put it on, it fixes it. It is the only way that I found to fix kind of that little creasing problem that I found to have with the concealer. So I absolutely love this powder and I love the finish. It really is a flawless finish. They are not kidding. It is so blurring. It's beautiful. I am so in awe of it. It's just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I'm also gonna use this right along here to just kind of set and lighten up and just matte down a little bit this part of my face, just so that I can kind of clean up where I contoured a little bit. It's just, I'm honestly surprised at how much I like this. I've heard so many people recommend this and I put it off for so long to try it, and now I'm like, why did I put it off? It's beautiful. It really is beautiful. Now for the center of the face, I am going to use the Charlotte's Genius Magic Powder. This is an under eye and face loose setting powder. I have the shade 1 Fair. Now, this powder has a little bit more of a pearl finish to it, which I tried really hard to get like a good comparison on the two before I ordered because I really only wanted to purchase one. But in the end, I just couldn't kind of decide, so I did end up picking up both of them. And I'm glad I did because, not because I think I need both, I don't think you need both, but because honestly, if I would have gone with my gut, I probably would have just picked up the loose powder. But like I said, the pressed is actually my favorite. So I'm gonna use this loose powder just to lightly set the center of my face because it does blur. It is beautiful. It's blurring and it does give you kind of a nice like pearlized finish. So this is something that I like could see myself using, but I did not find that I liked the way it sat on the under eye. I originally tried this on the under eye, and in conjunction with the Magic Concealer, I had all that creasing and it just was not a pretty picture. So while I do think that both powders kind of have their place, for me and the way I do my makeup, I just don't feel like this one is going to get as much use. So if I had to choose between the two, I would definitely choose the Airbrush Flawless Finish, this one right here. All right, we're gonna move on to eyes. So I'm gonna use 2 eye products. I'm gonna be using the Pillow Talk Quad, but I'm also gonna be using one of the Eyes to Mesmerize cream shadows. I have 3 of these, I absolutely love them. Today I'm gonna be using the color Jeanne. The 2 other colors I have, the Rose Gold and the Marie Antoinette, I like to use those just by themselves. The Jeanne, I find myself using under other eyeshadows. So I like to use this as a base just to kind of brighten up my eye looks when I'm using the Pillow Talk palette, the Pillow Talk Quad. So what I do is I just take a little bit on a flat shader brush and I pack it on the lid, just following kind of the mobile lid. That's a new word that I'm using because I heard it in several different like bridal makeup tutorials I was watching. And I was like, you know what? I really like that term, the mobile lid, so I'm gonna use it. So I kind of just do it on like, I got it a little bit messy, but I just do it on like the first half of the eye because I really just want it down as a base on that inner half so that it's gonna brighten up the shadows that I'm gonna put down over it. Like I said, I have 3 of these Eyes to Mesmerize cream shadows. I really, really like them. They are super light reflective. They work really well just by themselves. So you can just, you know, pack them on with your finger, blend them out, and then that's like all that you need to do. And they look really beautiful. I feel like they accentuate all eyes. I guess that's why she named it Eyes to Mesmerize. All right, so now we're using the Pillow Talk Quad. This is the original quad. It is not the palette of pops. Don't get them confused because that one I did not like it. So I'm taking the first shade here in the corner. This is the, I believe they call it the prime shade. So I like to just take this on like the outer half of the eye up into the crease. Just, you know, focusing out here is where I like to keep it. Boop, boop, boop. These are really nice shadows. They're very blendable. And what's crazy is I absolutely love this quad now. But when I first got it, I was not a fan. These shades are very buildable. So I kind of describe it as like you at first get a color wash and then you can kind of build it up. And what I really like about that is that it enables you to get kind of different intensities with each shade. So, you know, you can take this, put it on first, get, you know, your nice little wash, and then you can go back in, but keeping it tighter right here and kind of deepen that color up. And it really is very forgiving and buildable in the sense that you're gonna be able to do that. You're gonna be able to build it up without having blending problems. These mattes blend so beautifully, so beautifully. And I feel like sometimes when you have something that's like super right out the gate, like very deep pigmentation, you don't necessarily get as even as a blend. So I really love the formula, and you're gonna see that once we're done with this, the colors are just so soft on the eye that it really gives you just this beautiful, sophisticated, soft eye look. And listen, I love simple, so I'm all about this. So I'm gonna take a smaller blending brush. I think this is like a MAC 217. I'm gonna take the Emphasize shade and I'm just gonna go again on that outer half where I went with the first shadow. I just kind of keep it a little bit lower so that it's, you know, more confined to the lid and just going up a little bit into the crease. So you can see these colors are very soft, they're very flattering. I'm gonna take this lightest shimmer shade right here. I'm gonna pack that right on top of where we put the cream shadow. I just absolutely love the way that it ends up looking. I feel like it just enhances everything, and having that cream shadow under there, it's just so beautiful. I also really love that that cream shadow does work well under the shadows. There are some cream shadows that I cannot put a powder eyeshadow on top of, and I really appreciate that I can with these. And I just take my finger with this one, this little shimmery one. I think it's called Pop. Yes, this is the Pop shade. And I just put it right on the center of the lid, like on the ball. It kind of merges the two sides, you know, merges the matte and the cream side of the eye. And voila, it's like a really easy look, but it's so soft and pretty. Okay, so to finish off the top of the lid, I'm gonna use the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Tuck eyeliner. I picked this up when it first came out, like back in, I wanna say February, before things went sideways. I remember that much, so I think it was back in February. It's such a soft, creamy formula. It's really beautiful, but the reason I actually picked it up was because I really like this color. I am gonna put it up here on this upper waterline, and I think I'm gonna put it on the lower waterline too, just so you can get a better picture of how it looks. It's so soft. I love that it's very soft, but still gives you that nice kind of like almost like soft plum color. I'm really picky about the colors I put on my waterline. I do not like blacks. I don't like anything too harsh. So I like that this has color and it, you know, really goes with kind of the color theme, the kind of soft, pinky, rose, gold, berry tones, but it doesn't look too harsh in the waterline. I'm gonna take a little bit of the smoke shade from this palette on a pencil brush just to kind of blow this out and so that we can complete the eye look. I'm gonna throw in some lower lash mascara, not from Charlotte Tilbury because it just didn't make sense for me to try mascara when I have lash extensions on. So I'm gonna throw in some lower lash mascara and we'll move on to cheeks. Okay, so for cheeks, we're using a new product to the line. This is the Pillow Talk Lip and Cheek Glow. I picked up the Color of Passion because you guys, when I said I will buy anything that says Pillow Talk, I was not kidding. So I found that I like to put it on with a beauty blender and then I like to blend it out with my favorite blush brush. Some products don't work well with this method, but this one does really look beautiful when it's kind of applied on. And then this is a very soft brush and it just blends it out really beautifully and makes it just look really naturally nice. Again, because it is part of the Pillow Talk line, you do know that it's going to be cohesive with the other colors that are marketed under that name. And I don't know, I kind of love that because I just don't feel like there are many things more flattering than having a look that is very cohesive in the color family. Like a very cohesive color family, I think just looks really flattering and kind of gives you that soft, pretty look. So I do really like this cream blush, but it's $40. So yeah, there are other cream blushes that you can get. I think if you really want like a nice luxury one that has like a pretty, I'm gonna be honest, this is plastic packaging. Another thing to mention about Charlotte Tilbury, the packaging is just beautiful. It is plastic, it's not like metal. So that is kind of, you know, a little bit of a downside, but it does look very pretty even if it's not, you know, as luxury as it could be. Like the Fenty ones are the same amount of product. It's just these look bigger, I guess because the packaging is a little bit more substantial. So it looks like it's bigger, but really you're not getting any more product and it's twice as much. The Fenty ones are 20, these are 40. So I think if you know, really like cream blushes, there are a lot of shades of the Fenty one. I would probably start out there unless you know, you're just like me and you're like, you know what? I like the packaging. I like that it's Pillow Talk. I like that everything is cohesive. Then sure, splurge on it, but you don't have to. All right, next up, we're gonna be using the Airbrush bronzer. Holy heck, how big this bronzer compact is, but also expensive. But oh my gosh, I just think it's so pretty. It's just, oh my gosh, I love that you have this big mirror. Like this mirror is so big. Now, full disclosure, I have had a bronzer from Charlotte Tilbury before. I have the Film Star Bronze and Highlight Duo. And this one is another one that really grew on me because at first I was I'll be honest, not a fan at first. I was like, you know what, this does not bronze me up enough, and I think I just wanted like all the color payoff at once, and that's just not something you're gonna get from Charlotte Tilbury. I'm gonna tell you that right now. This is definitely makeup that's like, if you want to be able to build it up, if you want to start off with a very natural wash and then, you know, be able to build upon that to kind of intensify it, then it's a really great brand for that, you know, most of the way across the board. But if you kind of like more dramatic and you like it to have that color payoff straight off the bat, it's gonna disappoint you. So that's one thing I just will say to keep in mind when you are thinking about Charlotte Tilbury products, is just keep in mind that it is gonna be more of a buildable coverage rather than a quick color payoff. I like that, but I think it's worth noting because that's not everyone's cup of tea. I'm just gonna bronze my nose a little bit to just kind of, again, blend that nose contour. I have to say, I really do love, love, love this bronzer. I love how buildable it is. I love how natural it is. I do feel like it warms up my face. It just goes on so nicely, so evenly. I like that it's matte. There's no shimmer to it, and it's just still soft. So I really like that. Sometimes I like a shimmery bronzer, but sometimes I find myself reaching for a matte one. I really like this one, and I don't know what changed in the formula, but it does feel like it is like, again, this is one of the airbrush ones. It does feel like in the places that you put it that it does have like a very nice kind of blurring finish. I actually do notice a difference between this one and the one that is in the Film Star Bronze and Glow, which I've had for, I mean, this thing is like, it's old. I've had this for a while, and I do like that one, but I think that this is the one I'm gonna be reaching for more often than not because I just feel like it softens up the whole face. I really, really like it. All right, moving on to highlighter. We're almost done, and this is one of my, I think this is one of my favorite discoveries. This and the Airbrush Flawless Filter Powder, the pressed powder. This is the Pillow Talk Beauty Light Wand in the color Pillow Talk, you guys. Again, we've got the same packaging as the contour wand, so I don't love that. And a little bit goes a long way, so you always have to keep that in mind. But you guys, this is such a beautiful, soft highlight. Oh my gosh, it's like a light kind of rose gold highlight. I go in really gentle with it, and I'm gonna tell you what, it's so beautiful. I'm like stumbling over myself. So I apply it, and then I go in and kind of stamp to blend it out with this setting brush from Real Techniques. This is one of my favorite brushes actually for blending out cream highlight because the bristles are very loose. They're very loose, but they're, you know, dense enough that you get a good blend without over blending the highlight. So I really love that. I just, ooh, ooh. I apologize in advance for how long this video may be. I'm trying to be thorough, but we're to the end. We are to the lips. So I'm gonna be using the lip liner in Pillow Talk. It is the Lip Cheat lip liner in the shade that kind of kicked it all off, Pillow Talk. I mean, what is there to say? This is just such a beautiful color. It is so flattering. It is definitely that quintessential classic Your Lips But Better for my coloring. It is just, it's such a beautiful color. Also, the pencil itself is very creamy. It applies very well and it sticks. It doesn't bleed. It doesn't move around. So this is such a good lip liner. If you've ever wanted this and you're kind of on the fence about it, I really, really love it, and it is a product that I do recommend. This is a product that I mentioned in a wish list and anti-haul video, and I did end up picking up. It is the Matte Revolution lipstick in the color Wedding Bell. So this is one of the new shades she has out, and it's just, oh my gosh, it's really pretty. I'm gonna put it on and show you. I'm such a fan of this lipstick. Oh my gosh, her lipsticks are also flattering. It's funny because I feel like they're all just slightly different. But they're all really pretty. So beautiful. I absolutely love this color. I really do like her lipstick formula when I'm gonna wear like a matte lip. I don't like matte skin, but I do often find myself going for like a matte lip. I think I just like that it balances things out. So this is something that I would absolutely leave here. But for today's video, I do want to show you the Lip Collagen lip gloss in the shade Pillow Talk. Honestly, there's so many so many products named Pillow Talk in this line, but they're just all really pretty. So I like that this has kind of like a little heart-shaped wand. And you put it on, it smells like very kind of like spearminty to me. It kind of has that smell that I feel all plumping lip glosses have. It's really pretty, not too sticky. I like the color. I feel like it goes really well with the lip liner and the lipstick, but again, this is one of those that I feel like you can find cheaper alternatives. You don't have to get this lip gloss. All right, you guys, this is the finished look, all done. I feel like her products work so well together. That's really the big takeaway that I have, is that Charlotte Tilbury, her products are so beautiful together. I feel like the colors are all cohesive. When you buy within kind of the Pillow Talk line, I think you're getting very cohesive color stories that are very flattering, especially if you're someone who has my skin tone. I also feel like formula-wise, all the products work really well together. There are no two products that ever kind of counteract or disagree. Everything just really is very cohesive across the line, and I really appreciate that. I do find some stumbles in the packaging. Again, like the wands, I don't super love kind of the whole like sponge deal, but I don't know, maybe that is something that kind of contributes to the success. I think another thing you see throughout this line is that these products are very forgiving. They're very buildable. They blend beautifully. I would say for me, really the biggest misses would have to be the concealer. I do not like that concealer. I think it's a no from me, as well as the brow products. I just don't think they're a good fit for me. Otherwise, I really like everything else, to be honest. That being said, these are expensive products. So really, if I had to narrow it down to like the top 5 products that I would recommend, it would be the Airbrush Flawless Finish, the Hollywood Flawless Filter, the Pillow Talk Quad, the Pillow Talk Beauty Light Wand, and the Eyes to Memorize Cream Shadows. I hope that you enjoyed this full face of Charlotte Tilbury. Please let me know in the comments below which brand would you like to see me next do a full face of video. I would love to hear your suggestions. I thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I hope to see you in my next video. Until then, you can always chat with me down below in the comments or over on Instagram. Until then, you take care of yourself. Bye.